Welcome back to World of Tanks. This is Hachiman. I'm going to talk about the KV-2 here. This is going to be a 4-part video because my software only lets me go so long. So I'll have one part where I talk about the tank and then 3 that are gameplay. The KV-2 was generally considered a failure in history. Only 200 of them were made. And the infantry called it Big Turret, as opposed to the KV-1, which they called Little Turret. The KV-1, real quick, never had the gun that it has in this game. It was a 76mm, the same gun that was on the T-34, but it was so much slower that really the tank crews didn't like it. The KV-2 was an experiment to give the Soviet tank divisions mobile artillery support. So they mounted a 152mm, roughly 6.1-inch gun in this big, giant, boxy housing with a rear machine gun. Most of the Soviet tanks had machine guns on the rear of the turret, which is a very bizarre affectation, to be sure. Anyway, in game, KV-2's armor is very consistent. 75mm on the front and side of hull and turret, and 70 on the rear. That's overall pretty good compared to the KV-1, which has the same hull armor. This KV-2 actually has less turret armor than the KV-1. If you're ever shooting at a KV-2, just shoot for the turret. It's a big, flat, boxy structure. You shouldn't have much trouble penetrating it with anything with a tier 5 or better gun. KV-2 is not particularly slow. Top speed 35, particularly fast or slow. Top speed 35, about average for a heavy tank. So, and reasonably maneuverable. But let's be blunt. Let's talk about what everyone talks about on the KV-2, and that's the gun. You start the tank with the 122 from the KV-1, which gives you something that you can be reasonably effective with, even up against tiers 6, 7s, and sometimes even 8s. There's a tier 7 107mm, which is actually a very, very good gun. A lot of penetration, good damage, reasonable reload time every 10 seconds or so. But the gun everybody goes with is this 152mm M10. This thing is an artillery cannon, I just told you. It's a 6.1-inch artillery howitzer. 2.5 rounds per minute. So that's a 24-second reload time with a 100% crew if you don't have anything to speed that up. Your damage options: AP, heat, HE ammo. HE is what you want. Anyone who has a KV-2 loads HE, because 110mm of penetration will not get through some tier 6 tanks if you hit them in the wrong spot, like a Sherman Jumbo's turret, for example. And it won't get through a lot of tier 7 and 8 heavies, so you just wasted this 700 damage shot and watched it bounce off the front of an IS. So what you want is this HE ammo. The penetration's good for HE at 86mm. The average damage is 910. This gun will one-shot almost anything tier 6 and under with a halfway decent shot. And you can hit the turret of a tier 6 heavy tank and still do substantial damage, if not one-shot it. Other than that, to look at it, the tank looks just like the KV-1, but with a big turret on it, which is funny, because historically that's exactly what it was. I load mine with a gun rammer, enhanced gun laying drive, and just for giggles, this heavy spall liner. I don't know why, I had an open spot. All 36 rounds are HE. Repair kit, first aid kit, fire extinguisher, nothing special there. Talking about the gun statistics for a minute. You see there the dispersion at 100 meters, 0.6, which is awful. On the other hand, the gun has like a 3-meter splash radius with HE ammo, so you can miss and still do damage. I missed a Chaffee once and still hit him for 124 damage. And the aiming time is absolutely brutal, 4 seconds. You cannot snipe with this tank. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. This is up close and personal, in your face, dealing the pain. Urban maps are, of course, its natural environment. That's where the KV-2 wants to run, is in urban environments, where it can get up close and really just brutalize its enemy. Especially if you get multiple heavies in one spot, say on Heavy Alley on Himmelsdorf, you can hit one tank directly and do splash damage to others around them. So, anyway, that's about all I have to say in the garage. This is part 1 of 4. Parts 2, 3, and 4 will be gameplay. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you there.